ons gaan voort met Nuusdag Perspektief. Die organisasie Women and Men Against Child Abuse sê dit is nie genoeg dat katholieke priesters wat van seksuele misdrywe teen kinders beskuldig word, dit aan die kerk erken nie. Die organisasie wil sien dat hulle ook strafregtelik vervolg word. William Slattery het vandag sy verhaal van seksuele mishandeling deur 'n priester gedeel. Hy beweer hy is 30 jaar gelede geteken. Die inhoud van die volgende bydrae kan sekere kykers ontstel.
Not every weekend, but most weekends. When I was there, I was expected to pleasure him. So this thing affected me a lot, and it affected my mind in a way that I started to act in a very inappropriate way whilst at school.
We are not saying that the Catholic Church and Catholics are bad people and priests are all pedophiles. What we are saying very clearly is we do not believe that certain church institutional laws will stand up to our constitution. I think as a country, we need to take the lead in the world and be one ahead of the Australians who have refused now, regardless of the law, to say we'll do anything except the confessional. And I want the priests to know that if they want to confess, throw yourself on the mercy of the court, not ask for God's forgiveness. And we want to test this confessional against our Constitution, and we want our Constitution to clearly say, not in a country with a human rights record like ours will we allow this to continue.
Nou, by my in die ateljee is Michiel Jacobsz. Hy is betrokke by openbare betrekkinge en voorspraak by die organisasie Women and Men Against Child Abuse. Langs hom sit Aartsbiskop William Slattery van Pretoria. Gentlemen, good evening. Goeienaand.
Good evening.
Archbishop, when you see this, when you hear that, how do you feel?
One feels very, very bad about it, but that's not the most important point. The point is that the child who is abused, how does that child feel? Because each of us has an interior area that is totally private, and it's like a bubble, as it were. And when that's, penetrated, when that's abused by an adult, obviously that is a terrible disaster, and I think children can never properly trust again. So to see a case like this is extremely sad. And yes.
But sorry for interrupting, but this is not just an adult. This is somebody from the church. This is
Yes.
a priest. And it really, it makes me angry, because you would expect the church to be a safe place for our children, and then it seems not to be.
For the majority of situations, the church is an absolutely safe place, and for 2,000 years we've been caring for children. We've been the pioneering organisation in caring for children. I've spent the best part of 50 years here in South Africa caring for children. So we take children extremely serious. Yes, there are people within the church who fail in their obligations and then abuse children and take advantage of their position to do so. They are a minority. It's a very serious situation. I'm not in any way trying to reduce or diminish the guilt or the terribleness of this situation.
I think the problem is that, in any organization, in any household, I think you will find people who will err, who will make mistakes. I think the problem is just that the church, it seems to us, that the church is trying to keep quiet about it.
The church is not trying to keep quiet about it. The church is trying, more than any other organisation in the world, it is the Catholic Church who has examined this situation. 64 children are abused in South Africa every day. 1 in 3 South African girls by the age of 18 has been interfered with. Where is all that being investigated? It is the Catholic Church, because we have the records, because we have money, people come after us. Now, let us not get away from the fact. We must focus on the child who is being abused. This for us is an utter disaster, because for us, the words of Jesus, if you scandalize a child, you should be thrown into the sea.
If I may interrupt you, sir, I think, You say that it's the minority in the church. We could go discussing this for hours. The Magdalene laundries, what happened there? That was church-sponsored abuse against children, women. But to get back to today's case, I think for me what is absolutely clear is that the church is trying to run the narrative, to control the narrative of these discussions around child abuse. In William's case, if we had access to the whole interview today, he already disclosed to the church in 1990. The first time he disclosed to a black priest to say what had happened to him, the priest told him, I don't want to be a part of this conversation. The second priest that he went to ended up molesting him as well. Somebody who is supposed to protect him from the church. And then after that, the Jesuit Society got involved, and we heard that, oh, this priest was taken out of active service. He hasn't been involved. He hasn't had access to children for 10 years. That should not be the point. Was this man ever tasked? Did the church ever help to get him in front of a court of law to stand trial? And if he had no access to children through the court, did that completely prevent his access to any children whatsoever, as a jail sentence would have?
Look, when he was withdrawn from service here in South Africa in 1990, he was taken back to England, where he came from, and he was refused any kind of ministry with children of any kind, or any kind of ministry in the church. The church acts very strictly whenever it becomes clear that there is a case. We take this extremely seriously.
It's good to know that the church takes it seriously, but you don't walk the talk, I'm afraid, because this man should have been in jail. Just because the church took him out of ministry does not mean that he did not still go to the Tesco's to go and buy himself a pound of sugar and milk or whatever, have access to children through his normal day-to-day life. This is somebody...
The very first thing that happens when an abuse case is obviously has taken place, we go to the civil authorities. We go to the civil authorities. Now, remember that protocols have come in this whole area in the last 15 or 17 years. We are the leaders in it. The British government said, if you want a model protocol, go to the Catholic Church. So we have gone to that. And but before that, there were no protocols in place. People wasn't taken to the civil authorities. I agree with you. You are right. But now, all are taking immediately. Now, that report recently about Pennsylvania, since 1935, 300 priests have offended. But all that has happened before the year 2000, when the protocols came into operation. We are the leaders in fighting against this. We really feel you are working for women and children who are being abused. We are working for women and children. It's a disaster for me to have to listen to cases like today. This is a disaster, but that's not the important thing. It's a disaster for that young man, and how it's destroyed his life. We are
But Archbishop, it is the important thing. It is the important thing that the church will look into this, and that you are doing that. But the thing is almost, it's like, you know, any system. If you have a household, if you have a business, if you have a political party, any system, whenever there is a kind of a dysfunction, the first thing we do is we turn a blind eye. Hey, we don't want to see this because we don't know what to do. Then we start protecting our own. We don't want people to know about it. Isn't that what the church has been doing and still is doing to a certain extent?
No, I challenge the second part of your statement. In the past, that did happen, correct. As it happens in families all over the world the whole time. The first thing is you try and guard your own. That was the reaction in the 60s and 70s. Before these things, the media themselves never investigated those issues way back in the 60s and 70s. It came from us. We are the ones who have worried most about this. But that it still continues. No, we have protocols now all over the world, and when we become aware of these things, we immediately intervene.
Net gou iets anders.
Ja.
Wat sien jy wat gebeur in 5 punte? Wat gebeur, want ons praat hier oor, maar wat gebeur wanneer 'n kind gemolesteer word? Ons het gehoor wat William sê, hy het eienaardige gedrag, ontoepaslike gedrag. Wat presies gebeur?
Dit is moeilik omdat dit verskil van kind tot kind. But when a child gets molested or raped, it depends on the kind of situation. Hierdie is iets wat oor jare invloed het op 'n kind, want it could be an occasional rape, somebody, an opportunist, iemand wat verbygestap het, dros. Kind was daar alleen toevallig en dit het gebeur. En dan is die fisiese skade erg en die emosionele trauma is erg. Maar sit jy nou in die skoene van 'n kind wie se pa of ma, ons kyk na die Springs gesin byvoorbeeld, wat jou pa, the person who was supposed to protect you, to be your mentor, iemand na wie jy moet opkyk, jou pa of jou oupa, wat so 'n kind oor 'n lang tydperk beetkry. Ek bedoel, dit vernietig 'n kind emosioneel. Ek praat elke dag met 'n dame wat deur hierdie goeters is. Sy gaan uiteindelik na 30 jaar, staan sy in 'n hof en sy kan haar victim impact statement, wat sy kan sê wat sy invloed haar pa alles gehad het. Ek dink dit is iets wat 'n mens in 5 punte nie. Dit is gereeld kry die narrative in homoseksuele mense se lewens. Jy is as kind gemolesteer, is dit hoekom jy gay is. Daai persoon sal nooit weet nie. Jy kan nie daai ervaring uit hulle lewe uithaal en sê if I wasn't molested, I wouldn't have been homosexual. Jy kan dit nie sê nie. Dit het klaar gebeur. Dis ongelukkig, dis nou te laat vir jou. Dis jou narrative. Dis waarmee jy
En dis waarmee jy vir die res van jou lewe sit. Dit beïnvloed jou
precies.
verhoudings met jou kinders, met jou huweliksmaat, met almal. Archbishop, would you like to explain to us the position of the church when it comes to the treatment of victims once they've come forward?
We do everything we can to get so that the victims that have been proved to be being abused by church personnel, it's our responsibility. Like that young man today, they did try and offer him counselling, but he says the lawyers took all his money. So now he has re-entered the case again. So this is the problem. We try and offer all this help we can give, insofar as we can. Because, as you know, it's a terrible destruction.
But you say once it's proved, so what do you do to prove whether the person is talking...
If it's not tested in a court of law.
Yeah.
The first thing we do is we refer it to a civil authority. That's the very first thing.
But in this case, William
it happened before the year 2000, before these protocols came into operation.
But our country now has laws that says that sexual crimes against a person never prescribes. Not after 20 years, that's the new Franco law. That's
right,
recently.
that's right.
So a case can still be made against this person.
That's right.
We have seen our organization, the Jesuit Society, has approached William. He has approached the priest through them.
Ek is ontsettend jammer, maar ek het nou net gehoor dat ons ongelukkig moet klaarmaak. Unfortunately, we have to finish. Thank you so much for coming in, gentlemen. Michiel Jacobsz, betrokke by Women and Men Against Child Abuse, en Aartsbiskop William Slattery is van die Katolieke Kerk. En op daai ernstige noot groet ons vir vanaand. Skakel môre aand weer in. Ons het nog interessante gesprekke vir jou dan. Lekker aand.